What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to do the double exposure effect inside DaVinci Resolve. Let's get into it. Double exposure is one of those effects that's really not called for that often, but when you do it right and put it in the right places, it can just completely change a style. Maybe your B-roll, maybe you have a cinematic sequence you're wanting to fill out and you needed to spice something up. It can turn a boring clip into a really exciting clip. Well, that's what I'm going to show you guys today, how I created this double exposure effect inside DaVinci Resolve. Let's hop inside and we'll get going. So the first thing you're going to need is a few clips of you against a white background. Now I shot this with just a 5-in-1 like reflector, and in the inside it's got this white diffusion material in it, and so I just hung that up and blasted a light through the back of it, and it worked fine. Now you can see that it definitely did not fill the whole screen because it's not big enough. So there's a couple ways we could deal with this. First, we could go to the inspector and the edit page and we could zoom it in until it's cutting that off, and obviously that would work, but it's going to be cutting out a lot of the image. I'm going to show you how to do it with just the image already cut off like this, and then I'll show you the other way here in just a second. But I've got two different clips, one that's a super close-up right here, and then the other one is me holding the camera up like I'm taking pictures. The first thing I'm going to do is highlight both of these and drag it up to layer 2. So we've got 2 layers inside this timeline. We can actually zoom in just a little bit right here. And what we need to do is we need to put something behind this. So I've got 2 different video clips over here. I've got this ink floating right here. So we'll do this one right here. That looks fine. Do an out from there. Kind of trim that to where we need it. And then the second one, we will just do this white ink that we've got right here. If you guys are interested in these ink video clips, let me know in the comments below. I may have a pack of 4K ink video clips coming out in the near future. Let me know if that's something you guys are definitely interested in, and I will definitely be dropping them soon. So now that we've got 2 layers, we've got our top and our bottom, what we're going to do is we're going to hop inside the color page real quick, and this is the only thing we're going to do inside the color page. Now I'm working with a B-raw clip, so I could actually go in here and change the ISO and everything like that, but most of you are not going to be doing that. So I'm just going to kind of ignore it, and we're just going to be focusing solely on the curve. The only thing we might want to do is on the 3rd tab right here, which would be any normal video clip, is we are going to drop the saturation all the way down. I prefer it to be black and white. That's just the way I like things on this kind of double exposure effect. Then what we're going to do is we're going to kind of boost that white way up so it's really white, and I'm going to grab another one and I'm really going to kind of crush some of these blacks. That way it kind of just has a very, very dramatic look. You can adjust these if you like. You could actually even drop this a little bit lower, and if you want to add a little more punch, you can click the contrast right here and you could bring that up even more. I'm going to hop over to the first clip and I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to just curve it up a little bit, maybe not quite as much because it doesn't quite need it. We'll leave this one in color so you can kind of see the difference. That actually looks kind of cool the way it is. Maybe drop the saturation down just a little bit. Bring the contrast up just a little bit, and I think that actually looks pretty good. I might even lift the bottom a little bit to give it kind of more of a faded look, and that actually looks pretty good. Then we're going to hop back into the edit page, and then here's where all the magic's going to happen. On the first one, we're going to click on it. We're going to go over here under the inspector, and we're going to go down to hard light, and in here, which you can see my video clip is not full size, so I'm going to zoom that up so we can see. You can see that it's really only affecting my skin tones, anything that's not in the white. So if we play that through, it's kind of got this interesting look to it. And now if you don't like that, or you are liking it but it needs to be tweaked a little bit, you can always hop back into the color page, making sure you're clicked on the actual video of yourself, and you can start dropping it, bringing it up higher, really messing with it however you want. I really had a lot of a bloom, light bloom going on around here to make it really over the top, so we might even kind of drop that just a little bit. See what that looks like. Actually bring that back up. Hop back into the edit page, and you have that double exposure effect. Feel free to mess around with the other effects and really play and find your style. Maybe you're not wanting to go exactly with the way I'm doing. Maybe there's a different style you're wanting to do that will completely change it. Feel free to really experiment, because that's what makes it special to your video. That's what makes that style look so cool. Let's use a second video clip as an example. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it right in the middle just so we know that we've got that two different video clips. And in here, what we could do is, instead of doing hard light, you could really start messing with any of these composite modes is really what it is. Darken sometimes looks really cool. It just kind of depends on it. You can see that I'm really only appearing in the ink, which I think is really neat. It's kind of got a different effect to it. You could also, on the second one, you could change it to, let's say, subtract maybe, and it's going to give you a completely different look to it. Sometimes it's not going to work for what you need. Maybe subtract will work better over here. So instead of hard light, let's go down to subtract and see what that looks like. It's not looking so great either. So maybe we want to change it up. Maybe when we want to do like multiply or something like that. And sometimes your face is really going to only half appear in it. And you may find an effect that you're liking, but if again, you need to tweak it, you can always go back into the color page and you can start messing with bringing your face in it more. Maybe it's a little too dark, so we can kind of drop that down a little bit. Hop back into the edit page. Still not looking great, so we can always just start messing with maybe overlay. Maybe we want to do linear light, you know. That really, any of these you can start messing with, and you're gonna get a different look to each one. Double exposure really is kind of one of those things that it just, you kind of play around with it and you find the look that you like. And me personally, I found my favorite four I've found is definitely hard light, multiply, subtract, and lighten. All those work really well. You need to tweak with them a little bit each. Like maybe this one, let's say we want to do lighten on it instead of that, and it will give you a completely different look. So like I said earlier, let's say we want this video clip to be, you know, less zoomed in, and we don't want it to be such a close frame. The easiest way I figured out how to do this is, let's zoom it to the size that we want. Let's say right there. I'm going to change this back to normal just for the time being so we can see what's going on. I am going to go ahead and position this over a little bit so I'm not hugging too much of the middle. I kind of like being over on the side a little bit better. There's a couple ways you could do this. We could click on the video clip. We could open up the cropping inside the inspector, and we could mess with the left side. Let's say we want to chop that off a little bit. And then we just do the composite mode to what it was before, which I believe was darken. And then now it has fixed that, which works, other than that little corner piece that we have hanging out right here. Now you could get rid of that by, again, just positioning it over more. So it just completely takes that out of there, which does fix the issue, unless we are doing it in a different mode. Like maybe we want to have the composite mode to be a, you know, hard light, and then we need the white, and we're like, crap, now what are we gonna do? So let's say we need to fix that, or we want me to be over this way. The best way I figured out how to do this is, let's change this back to normal. We are gonna turn the cropping off. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the effects library. We're gonna go to the toolbox, generators, solid color. We're going to grab it, we're going to drop it on top, and we are going to change the color in the inspector to a white. We're going to hit OK, and we need to do the next step in the color page in here. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a power window on top of it. The problem is, though, is we cannot change this solid color. So we got to go back to the edit page, and we got to do a new compound clip, create that. Now if we go back into the color page, we can click on that and we can actually create a mask on top of it. So let me get my open effects out of the way. We're going to right click, we're going to add alpha output. We are going to connect the blue to the blue right here. What we're going to do is we're going to add a power window, and I'm just going to do the cursor because I think it's just the easiest thing for what we need right now. I'm just going to start drawing a rough, let me make this size a little bit smaller so we can see. I'm just going to draw a rough area that I think I kind of am. And I think that will work. Yep, everything's cut off. We need to invert it, so we are going to hit the invert button, and that should be fine. If you need to soften the edges, you can right here under soften. We'll add just a little bit of softness. Now if we hop back into the edit page, you can see we can click on this. We can go to the composite mode. We need to do hard light. You can see it's a lot smaller of an image. It's a lot more zoomed out compared to this one that we zoomed in. Again, this doesn't work for everything, but it is an easy fix that if you're zooming it out, you can go in here and you can just completely start changing the look of things. Maybe we want it there. Nope, that's not gonna work. Maybe we want the lighten, and that's a completely different look right there. The only thing you're gonna run into a problem is if your hand would come in the way of the mask, or if you're needing to do the cropping way, if you're cutting it off. But the easiest way I've found that works for me, if I'm doing a wider one, is normally I won't even use that. I will just change this to the mode that I like, which was the darkened, and then I'm gonna just move this with the position kind of over and out of the way a little bit, just like that. And that normally is just the way I do things, but this is a whole nother method that if you need to do it this way. Well, there you go, guys. That's how you do the double exposure effect inside DaVinci Resolve. Give me a thumbs up if you guys like this video. Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and your opinions. Did you like this effect? Did you hate it? I want to hear all your thoughts. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already with the bell notification on so you don't miss any of my new videos. You guys are amazing. I'm the Iron Giant. I'm out. Peace.